Alrighty, how about we dive back into this mess? So now we know that there's someone named Sam and that there's a surprise inheritance of the farm, at least. And they're the illegitimate child of Elias Jr., which is, I guess, why they're important for the inheritance here. Even though they're a woman. But they are the only child, an illegitimate child, I guess, of his namesake. Is it called the namesake in that direction? It doesn't say anything about Elias having another kid, so I assume the illegitimate child is the only one that goes in the tree, because he's being Elias Senior is legitimizing them here. So if that's the only branch in the tree, that must be Elias' only kid. It must be Junior's only kid. Patricia, the daughter of a local street mogul, and Eli Jr. harbored a secret romance at age 16. She became pregnant, and after the birth, her father refused to let her see Eli Jr. ever again. Her baby, Samantha, was sent to the Roottrees. Elias hid her away with a local farmhand known as EC. Patricia was married off to a much older man and sent away. That was the end of all that. Almost. Okay, well, this is obviously just extremely Sam Page. Obviously. Can delete my note about wondering about her parentage being one of them. Because no. None of the next gens had ever met or heard of Patricia until she unexpectedly reappeared, now going by Patsy. After Patsy's husband died, she reunited with Eli Jr., and they finally married in their 50s. Lauren mentioned the wedding in her first diary without knowing Patsy's history. Yeah, because Laura did know that they were married. They were specifically, yeah, the wedding was mentioned there, and they were like, I don't know who Sam is. What's going on here? And Sam was their child that they already had before this marriage. So scandalous. It's not that interesting. in modern context, it's just not that interesting. It's not that scandalous. Eli Jr. had never taken another lover. Lauren, ever the romantic, quite appreciated this. So yeah, it's their only kid then. When Patsy and Eli Jr. finally married, Elias decided Sam should have been a Roottree in the first place, even though she was not part of the trust. The Clanced? I don't remember how this was pronounced before when they explained it. He wanted to include her in family affairs. That was what led to Lauren's initial entry entitled Sam. They were all freaked out about that. Clanced Trust. Clanced Trust. The company mandates that a fixed percentage of its profits are split every quarter amongst bank accounts represented each direct relative of Elias and Gwyneth. An account is created for each blood relative at birth and first accessible when they reach 18. Have I never read this? I've been to this page before. I think I get distracted. I think sometimes my tendency to immediately input information I gain might backfire, and I might like lose track of where I've been or what I've read, because I don't remember this paragraph. That could just be my memory, though. I've been obviously processing a lot this whole time. But yeah, like, I think this is where we found out that Clancy was a lawyer, and I might have not read the rest of the document, because I don't think I knew this, that this is how their inheritance works, is that a percentage of the profits is just split equally between every blood relative. So the more kids you have, the less money you make, essentially, because everyone collectively is splitting it up. But it is like an interesting way to handle your family, which I guess is why it matches up with like how we heard he's so serious about his bloodline and so on. They'll equally get profits here, which is interesting also because a bunch of them don't work at the company. Like most of them don't work for the company that the profits are tied to. An account is created for each blood relative at birth and is first accessible when they reach 18. So you have 18 years of profits the moment you turn 18. The actual number has never been fully disclosed to the public, but due to the ever-increasing success of the company, it is a significant amount of money. The Clanced Trust is known for being essentially impossible to get around due to many checks and balances written into it. Still, there have been a few situations in which family members have tried to forcibly remove another member from the trust. Most details online are pretty vague since the matters are handled internally. The only information you discover is from a university law school, which apparently had a guest lecturer talk about the Roottrees versus RR in 1994. While looking into the Clanced Trust, you often find mentions to the 5-piece guarantee, which went into effect at the same time. Okay, interesting. I'm gonna put this under founders, because the Clanced Trust seems tied to that kind of stuff. I think the founders is a little funny too, because it's like the matriarch and patriarch too. But I guess they're the founders of the company. Let's see. Let's look into this stuff before I lose track of it again. The 5-piece guarantee. The 5-piece guarantee, in combination with the Clanced Trust, was Elias Rootree's attempt to ensure that the Roottree Candy Company would remain a family business for eternity. In isolation, it is somewhat baffling. The yearly salary of Rootree's president is always locked to the price of a single pack of 5 pieces. When the 5-piece guarantee went into effect, this was 25 cents a year. Now it's closer to $4. That's interesting. So the president doesn't really make money. So the president just gets the money from the other thing, the trust, which is split evenly with everybody that isn't president. This might be why nobody wanted to be president, buddy. Combined with the Clanced Trust, however, it makes a bit more sense. Elias wanted to ensure that only his direct relatives could afford to be president. Oh, if somebody else somehow became president, they wouldn't make money. That's how he's keeping it in the family. And he knew that because their passive income was tied to the profits of the company, they would have a vested interest in keeping the company as profitable and successful as possible. Whether or not this was a smart or successful decision is widely debated both online and in person by economics enthusiasts of all levels of expertise. That's very funny. I'm gonna add that to the founder stuff. So that's the 5-piece guarantee. I go back here now and look into the Rootrees versus RR. But I might need a law school periodical in order to look into that. Nope. You find very few details about this particular incident with regards to the Clanced Trust. A student that attended the lecture about it wrote the following on a legal oddities website. From what you can tell, RR attempted unsuccessfully to remove a fellow family member from the trust. It was said that RR attempted 2 arguments. First, the person in question was born out of wedlock, and second, they committed a significant crime against a fellow family member. Interesting. Still, due to the ironclad wording of the Clanced Trust, it was impossible to remove any direct descendant of Elias Roottree without completely dissolving the trust. There is no additional information online. Okay, so this is tied to Sam. Sam's born out of wedlock. RR tried to remove them. RR is almost certainly one of our alliteration children. One of you two. Ronald and Robert Roottree. Which this shape almost makes me wonder if their behavior got them removed from the family and they're no longer part of that bit or something. Let's see. Yeah, Elias, Miracle Jr. I don't know if there's any other RRs. So we can look into it. It really especially gets me that Roottree has 2 T's specifically. Yeah, the only Rootrees that start with R are Robert and Ronald. There are other names that could start with R, technically, but it's probably one of these 2. So one of these 2 tried to get Samantha removed from the trust in order to make more money, I assume. Seems unnecessary given how many people are involved. Like, oh, I need 5% more income is a bit unnecessary. But people suck, so that makes sense. I don't think there's anything else to go on here. I can see if Legal Oddities is itself periodical. It's not. Okay. So that's, I think, a dead end for now. But we've been poking at this thing. We've been getting context and information. What is Clancy's job? Carl, what did your dad do? I might have to reread previous Carl documents because for all I know, it's like come up before or something anyway. Dare I just type doctor into this thing because of his fucking appearance? Guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. All right, who the fuck did you guys marry? He's a notable one. He's the one I still haven't looked into, right? Which is kind of wild to say at this point in the story. Yeah, I still haven't Googled Miracle Jr. at all. I'm just really saving him for last. I'm trying to fully exhaust everything I can find about each thing. And Lauren has been a ride. Oh my god, Lauren has amounted to finding so much stuff that this entire document only claims to have 6 more clues tied to it. Like, which is still the most, but it was definitely a big number at some point. Because it's like the spine of the whole game, essentially. Okay. So all of the 5 pieces already knew, but other people were surprised. Okay, so we read all that. The next up is Sam. Revisiting the diary. Sam, this is a page of additional notes and context from the 1975 10-year anniversary re-release of Lauren's diary. It is a companion piece to the entry about Sam. Clearly, I did not know our true family history when I wrote this. I didn't even know Sam was a Roottree. All of my doubts were ill-founded. She's a fine woman. She had the chance to grow up with us. Sam might have been the sister figure Gwen never was. Ernie and the kids are lucky to have her. Ernie and Sam. It's Ernest, isn't it? Fucking all these... No, it's, yeah, Ernest. And then one of you is Ernest Madsen Jr. Ernest Madsen, Jr. We don't know if they're... once again, we don't know if a daughter was born first, but one of you was Ernest Madsen Jr. That's what's going on there, at least. Manager? Farmer? I don't know if the person who runs the farm is a farmer, technically. I'm gonna let that one sit. Let's see. Ernie Jr. has been learning the day-to-day from Zach. It has been a long, long time since any real Roottree was excited and interested in the actual candy as Ernie. As a bonus, Gwyneth has the green thumb of her mother and was adopted, and her adopted grandfather. Gwyneth. They're listed in this order, but that doesn't mean anything. But we have Gwyneth, Madsen, Ernest. I guess I could have just typed in Madsen and probably would have. Well, no, these two are. Some of these are probably named Madsen too. Don't know what they look like. Unknown occupation. She might be a farmer. Gardener's not an option, so farmer might be a thing, but having a green thumb doesn't mean it becomes your job, so don't know about that exactly. I guess I'll keep all this under Sam as I add notes. I wish it would just open back up to the document. I think whenever I had other documents open, I'd come back to this desk and it'd still be open, but when it's these multi-page documents, it closes, which is a little weird. This is just a lot of Sam context of her family. What I'm most ashamed of is not figuring it all out myself. Sam's a spitting image of Patsy with her jet black hair and green eyes. She doesn't have the thick glasses Patsy did, of course, but I guess that skips a generation. Her children have that covered. Okay, so both of Sam's kids have glasses. Well, that narrows that down, don't it? That narrows it down all kinds of... So you and you might have them backwards on age, but those are the kids. The big old glasses. All right. It's hard to explain the look on Pop's face when they read that the farm's operations would pass to Samantha Roottree for as long as she was willing. I got flashbacks to when Zach was made president. Mother reframed it a bit to calm him down. Sam wouldn't receive any candy money, after all, and was essentially inheriting the right to rule over peasants for eternity. Alright, unnecessary, but thanks for your input. Yeah, she gets to make farm decisions, but she doesn't get to have, as an illegitimate child, she doesn't get to have one of the Clanced accounts. So she's not making income from it. That seems like it defeats the purpose of the intended structure of the whole thing. That the people that work on the farm and company and so on would have a vested interest in making it profitable because they all get an equal share of the profits and no direct pay for their position. Although I think she still gets paid because she's not the president, she's some other position. I don't know what to call her position still. Pop warned us away from that farm for years. I never met EC in person, but Pop once referred to him as a confirmed bachelor. That's one of them homosexuals! And I suspect that's why he kept us from there. Sam had to grow up in house with him and his roommate, Mr. Miller. His roommate. And they were roommates. My god. Alright. I think neither of these people are in the family tree at all. I'm not sure Sam will ever forgive Uncle Jr. Or Patsy for abandoning her to that life. If I were her, I might never forgive them either. But even so, she seems to blame more than just the two of them. She has no problems with us next gens, but she has a palpable hatred for the Five Pieces and Elias and Gwyneth. She hates everyone older than her, but she's fine with her peers, I guess. Even though some of them tried to get her kicked out of the family. So she was raised by two gay dads who are farmers, and also knows how to work on a bike. Should I just call her a farmer? I think I'm just gonna call her a farmer until further reference. She definitely did work as a farmer, so would wait until we get like an updated. We would kind of just like wait to get like an updated job description that's more recent than that. She was given the position of running the farm, which still sounds like being a farmer, I guess. But she was definitely a farmer before because she literally worked the farm with her two gay dads. Let's see. Revisiting the diary, Clark. Blah 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 blah, Clark. Reading this back, I get deja vu. As I write this addendum, Clark's gotten married again. No Roottree has ever remarried. Sure, I lost Jacob, and Gwen divorced Wild Bill just before she had her second. Not even I can blame her for that. I've seen what he gets up to in Starlet. But neither of us ever took a second husband. With the way the world is moving, I guess it was inevitable someone in this family would remarry. I just wish it wasn't my son. I can only wonder if Clark's apparent disrespect for marriage is due to the lack of a real father. I did what I could, and Lord knows Eli C. stepped up and helped. More than I can say for Clancy, or Edward. Eli C. stepped up and helped. Who is Eli C.? It's Elias Jr. Would they be your siblings? It's Clancy. Clancy or Edward. Okay, so Elias. Alias? Elias C. and Edward are the two other brothers. I don't know which row they go in, obviously, so that might be a mistake to even include them right now. I'm just trying to make a sense of this. This is the Sam tab, which is not where I want to have it, actually. Delete. Going back to Lauren. There. So Edward is the lawyer. Clancy, Eli C. I don't think we have context. I could actually double check the document. Anything else about these people? Clancy's a history professor. Clancy's right here, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, professor. Then, oh, this says advertising. It shouldn't say advertising because I just put that name in just now, right? I forgot what I was just doing. Brother is Clancy Jr. Clancy Edward. Okay, I think Edward's next. Oh my god. I think Elias C is last. Though it'd be funny if Elias C was third because letter C. But his name is Clancy Edward, and then his two sons are named Clancy and Edward. So that seems like that's the birth order. But I think I knew one of their occupations. So Clancy's a history professor. Younger brothers. Edward is taking over the department, so Edward's a lawyer. There we go. And going by birth order, they're all in this photo, right? Spitting image of father. Ah, who was spitting image of father? Edward taking over his department when he retires. Who's the spitting image of father? Wait, isn't that listed? Wait, isn't it was in the description of this picture, right? Because it's the description. Eli looks like Pop, so that's Eli. Which I think confirms the birth order. No, Eli. Ah. But Eli looks so much older. I think I might have these backwards then. Eli. Alright, so Elias. The lawyer. Edward. Yep. I was right to intuit their ages. And Danielle and Patricia are locked in. And Ernest. Damn. That's 6 people locked in. So make you unknown because we don't actually know what your job is. You're a professor. You're a lawyer. Okay. I'm making big progress. I'm making big moves. Look at me go. Okay, so James's dad is Elias C. Roottree. Who does look like his dad. Yeah, I really thought it'd be Clancy Edward would be the names, but no, he did his name first, and then he did his father's name next, and then he did his own middle name. Really creative naming in this family. Like, Jesus Christ. You never just pick a name. It's always like, oh, well, the only name, like, it's time to name your offspring, and then you have to do a fucking Mass Effect dialogue wheel of the 3 available options. You don't get to, like, just pick one from the overall list of names that exist. Like, you start to feel jealous of Raina, whatever Carly's name was, and Riley with their silly scheme. Look at Candy and Wolf. None of their parents were named that. So the artist broke free of this fucking irritating naming scheme. Anyway, I feel really bad for Clark. I mean, he keeps getting divorced, so maybe he's not great to live with, but holy fuck. His mom is so mean to him in every description, even when he's like, everyone of that entire generation is crazy. Not like my Clark, the sane one, but also he sucks and would be out on his ass too if it wasn't for all the billions of dollars everyone has. And it's like, what? You're already being just catching strays, and then we get in this like 10 years later retrospective. I'm like, wow, yeah, Clark sucks. Fuck Clark. And I'm like, oh, your perspective still hasn't changed, huh? You really don't like your only son. Damn, nothing but negative opinions of him. It's also like he also wanted to be a free spirit. He also joined a band, but then it didn't work out, and he got into advertising, and he did a Super Bowl commercial. Whoa. What do you do for a living, dick? All right, never mind. You would have been locked in if I was right, so I should definitely remove this. Is a researcher? Nope, hairdresser. Oops, not doctor. So yeah, we're not supposed to read into that coat as being him being a doctor, unless no screenwriter. There's no scientist. That's too much guesswork anyway. I just let it sit. You might be a screenwriter though, instead of a director. Interesting to think about. Because you went to film school. A lot of separate film-ish things in the overall catalog. Anyway, Elias, we need to find out his job. Let's get back to the document. Let's see. So yeah, Elias C stepped up and helped more so than I can say for Clancy or Edward. Elias C practically raised Clark and Jim as brothers whenever he could. Jim. Oh, we know that. We know that. So that would have helped. If I read slightly further, it would have really clarified where he goes in the family, because there's Jim right there. We know who Jim is because we listened to his song for 4 minutes. Eli's marriage seems fine, and Jim's marriage seems solid as a rock, pun intended, because he married someone named Diamond. So who knows what causes these things? I suspect he's marrying Jane to keep her from running out of the band. Without her, he'd be the third wheel, and I imagine they wouldn't last long as a trio. But still, I don't think a marriage on such a shaky foundation like that can last, and Lord knows I was right last time. Damn. Alright, a lot of context, but I already know all this stuff. I already have Jane locked in as the second wife. Who's their kid, though? Someone named LaRue, you would assume. Which is not an option. There's no LaRues left. I guess it'd be Rafferty. Chris Rafferty is the only remaining name. So it's a guy named Chris Rafferty. So I guess he didn't take the LaRue name from Jane. So he married Jane, kept the name Rafferty, had a kid named Chris Rafferty, and then had to divorce because he was sleeping with her sister, who then married him, which is a wild choice to make. But then they did compromise on the Rafferty LaRue as a name at that point. So I guess she did her own bargain on some level. Which I guess means that we can say that that's her. Oh yeah, I should have put her in here. That's her picture. I should have locked that in to reduce the overall pool a bit more. I don't have any reason to think that we know what your sibling looks like. Also, who's this guy with the big beard? He's just like in the background as a worker, so I'm curious. Is that EC? Is that our confirmed bachelor? Let's see. I think we've been over all this enough, I think. Names. It's not a companion piece to any specific entry, but it addresses feedback. The biggest complaint I got after publishing my diary was how many similar names there are. And I get it. There are 4 Elis for Pete's sake. But that's how it is. Someone would say, I saw Eli in town, and I wouldn't know which one they meant. My brother, my uncle, my cousin. Okay, brother, uncle, cousin are all Elis. Technically might be worth including. I guess I should include it under Lauren Okay. That's why they became Uncle Junior. So Eli Jr. Miracle's Eli. So Miracle has a son named Eli, or Eli C. This actually might not be helpful information. I think I locked all these people in already. There's Elias C. Not locked in necessarily, but Eli C is the brother. Miracle has Eli, which we knew because he looks just like Miracle Jr. and he says Eli on the thing. Okay, so we're getting cases of redundant clues. So I'm finding both clues that lead to these names, but it helps you track down who the fuck you're talking about, and it gives you more chances to succeed in the game because they have somewhat redundant clues that show up later that help you catch up on stuff that you maybe didn't get via other ways to make the game a little more possible, because it'd be a little frustrating to solve if there was exactly one clue in the entire game amongst the 700 documents. That was the only way to learn a piece of information. We saw a lot of this in Blueprints, which if you've heard of it and you like it and you didn't see my playthrough, I did a playthrough of it. It was, people liked it, I guess. That game has a lot of stuff you can figure out early-ish if you really find the right thing and zero in on it. But then, like, near the end of it, it kind of starts somewhat more loudly shouting certain clues at you in an alternate way to help make sure that at least at that point you probably have it figured out, because they have a second, more easy clue, just in case you got really far in the game, but a certain sort of almost foundational thing still had not been clarified for you yet, so that you wouldn't be fucked, which is decent design usually. Our family's names were always unusual. Grandpa Elias was a believer in using the names of each generation to honor those in the last. His father was, and Grandma Gwyneth's father were named Edward and Clancy, and that's why there's more Edwards and Clancys. So now you see where my pop's name came from, who's named Clancy Edward. One thing that's always been consistent in our family, though, is that anytime someone's a junior, they're always the firstborn son. Okay, so this is them explaining the thing that I figured out already, which is good, because if you're not American, or not completely separate from these cultures in some other way, including many types of Americans, honestly, this is like weird esoteric shit of a specific culture at a specific time, and if you don't have a connection to this stuff, you might not know what the fuck's going on with this naming scheme. And this was a game that I think at the beginning felt the need to explain what a yearbook was, so they want to make sure that you can culturally figure out some of the shit that you have no context for, potentially with Americans, or I guess white people, because this game does have like a Chinese localization I saw, and so on. So like they're really casting a wide net for people being able to play this game. And that's like, it's just a struggle once you're hopping languages. You're like, how the fuck do names work in this language? Because it becomes a puzzle, like decoding. If you don't have cultural context, it becomes like decoding the number system of Mist and stuff like that, or Riven, where you're like, okay, I need to just figure this out like it's fiction. Let's see. That goes for Miracle, Eli, or even Clancy. I think I know the juniors already. With the women, however, it all goes out the window. I think Gwendolyn got her name from some combination of Gwyneth and Carolyn. Who was Elias's mother? Women's names tend to get all mixed up as the generations went on. I guess that's because there's no female equivalent to Junior. So, if you're reading my diary and confused, you're not alone. Even the government had problems. I remember once receiving a certified mail for an Edward Clancy Roottree. I had to break the news they got my father's name backwards. It's Clancy Edward Roottree. Ah. Okay, so I think this was a catch-up clue. I think this is largely not going to... I think this didn't give me anything I didn't know already, so I don't think it's going to lead to anything new. But it implies that something's to be gathered here that I haven't put in yet. Anger. This is a page from the blah, 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 blah. It is not a companion piece to any specific entry, but rather a fun bonus, in quotes. Apparently this is the first thing she could find that she ever wrote. She knows it was for a school assignment about anger, and she believes, based on the teacher's name, she must have been in 3rd grade. She doesn't exactly remember the events spelled out here, but she does remember getting in trouble. I got angry when I met a new girl who I did not like. She was dirty and did not have a pretty dress. With an I, because it's a tiny child. Me and Pop walked home in town, and she and she hugged him. So she hugged him, I guess. When I told her he was my pop, she pushed me. I got angry and yelled at her, and Pop said to treat her nice. Then she said, "Your Pop is my dad." She screamed it loud in my ear. She was lying to me, and lying is not a nice thing, so I pushed her too. Then I got in trouble. Then Pop took her away. He told me, "Don't worry. I'm glad she is gone." She pushed me. I got angry and yelled at her, and Pop said to treat her nice. She pushed me! Okay, so what the fuck's going on there? What's going on there? What's going on there? So Samantha, it might be Samantha, but she doesn't have a pretty dress. Treated Clancy Edward like she was her father? What's the acronym again? Is it CE or EC? EC. Edward Clancy? Is Edward Clancy a real person? I don't know what EC stands for. This, which is the confirmed bachelor. But this is Clancy Edward. I somewhat intuitively think that the person in the story might be Sam, but I don't get the story. Huh. I'll put it under Lauren just because it's her perspective. I got angry when I met a new girl who I did not like. She was dirty and did not have a pretty dress. Me and Pop walked home in town and she hugged him. When I told her he was my Pop, she pushed me. I got angry and yelled at her, and Pop said to treat her nice. Then she said, "Your Pop is my dad." She screamed it loud in my ear. She was lying to me, and lying's not a nice thing, so I pushed her too. Then I got in trouble, then Pop took her away. He told me, "Don't worry. I'm glad she is gone." Does Pop have a second family? That would really fuck with the whole thing if there's a secret, like, illegitimate family that has not been revealed yet. Like, was 4 kids not enough? Is there's a girl claiming that she's related to you. What do we do with that? Huh. Also, what do I look into next? You can definitely look into Miracle Jr. I don't think I want to start that right now at the very, very end of the episode. I'm gonna look into for clues. Newspaper clicking. Atlantis' Burden. I don't remember if this is... Not in Spider Search. It's curious that this is a thing that apparently has the most clues out of anything right now. Carolyn next door sculpture. Nah. It annoys me that the pop-up goes away after the first little click, so I lose it all the time. I already have this open anyway. Yeah. Eloise and Stephanie. Nudes. Okay, sister Gwendolyn and cousin Bonnie. That's why I knew those names. Bonnie Hudson. who may or may not be. Can I find Carolyn in this photo? It's her. There we go. Gwendolyn. Ah. And she's older? So I think that has to be her, right? And they gave up on their dreams, so that's implied to be she's a housewife. Along with Bonnie. Feels like a little bit of a leap, though. But yeah, I think that's the only remaining photo of a woman from this entire generation that isn't her. She's tiny, so and I don't think this is another surprise. So she's got to be the youngest of that generation. This is a different art style, so it's from a different photo, and so is that one. I think she's the only one left that isn't this small girl, who is probably the very last one of the entire generation. It's actually a reasonable conclusion to draw, but I don't think I'm going to put her in right now. But they're not locked in. And I believe they would be if they were right, because I have other stuff that's ready. Actually, no, a lot of my... I don't really have a lot of occupations filled in for people. So a lot of those are still waiting to be figured out. Her brother-in-law, Dr. Wilson. Brother-in-law, Dr. Wilson. I need to fucking... Okay. Brother-in-law. My brain is frying. The brother of one's husband or wife. So Wilson is the brother of Mark. Mark Landon? Wait. This is Carolyn's document, right? I don't know why I struggle with family terms so much. I just don't use them. Dr. Wilson. Wait, hang on. Is it gendered? Yeah, brother-in-law. Brother-in-law, Dr. Wilson. Completely bogus. I think it's just not in the family tree, so it doesn't matter. But one of you had a brother named Wilson. So it's, I guess, Elias Wilson? Maybe? Who cares? I guess. This seems not that relevant. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it there. Yeah. I'm sure that next episode I'll be looking into this guy and opening up that can of worms, because I'm out of stars, kinda. It's time to finally get there. But yeah, I'm out of time for tonight. I'll see you guys next time.